You don't forget the sound of your front door unlocking when you know damn well you didn't touch the keys. That's how it started. I had flown home a day early from Denver, surprise trip. Figured I'd cook her dinner, pour some wine, maybe talk like we used to before her eyes started drifting to her phone every 5 minutes. Her name's Madison, by the way. Blonde, bright smile, sharp tongue. Real boss babe energy. She used to make me feel like the luckiest guy in the world. That ended tonight. The Uber had just pulled off when I slipped my key into the lock, but it didn't click. Door was already open. My heart thudded once, then twice, then silence. Inside, I heard laughter. A deep, smug, masculine laugh. And then I saw him. He was standing in my hallway. My hallway. Wearing my robe. The gray one Madison got me for our 3rd anniversary. His bare chest peeked through the opening. Her hands were on his chest. And then as she kissed him, deep, like I didn't exist, like I was the stranger, I froze. Not out of fear. Not even pain. Just shock. Cold, hard, brain-numbing shock. Then, without breaking the kiss, she looked at me. Eyes open. Stared me down. Didn't even flinch. Just kept kissing him like it was some goddamn show. And he smirked. Looked me dead in the face and said, "Guess you're early, champ." Champ. He called me champ. Something inside me cracked. Not like glass. Like bone. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just turned around, walked out, got in my car, and sat. 20 minutes passed before I even noticed I was gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't yelling. I was calculating. My wife, Madison Taylor, now Madison the Two-Faced, had just burned our entire life down with a smirk and a tongue down another man's throat. And that man? His name was Bryce. Bryce Holloway. Sales exec. Gym rat. Dumber than drywall. I'd seen his name pop up in her text before, just a friend from work. Sure, Maddie. A friend who apparently knows exactly where we keep the bath towels and what drawer my robe is in. That night, I didn't go to a hotel. I drove 3 hours to my buddy Tyler's cabin upstate. No cell service. No distractions. Just me, a bottle of whiskey, and the echo of Bryce's voice in my head. Guess you're early, champ. That was Monday. By Thursday, Bryce Holloway was dead. You think I'm joking. I'm not. He drowned. Accident, they called it. Fell off a dock. No witnesses. Police said alcohol was involved. But let me rewind. Let me tell you what really happened. Not the fairy tale version for court. The real one. With blood and betrayal and a final smile. Because that moment, him in my robe, with my wife, wasn't the beginning. It was the final spark that lit the gasoline she'd been pouring for months. And now? Now I'm going to tell you everything. Every lie. Every betrayal. Every moment where Madison showed me who she really was. And how I turned her fairy tale affair into a nightmare she'll never forget. The day after Bryce slipped, the world kept spinning like nothing happened. But Madison? She didn't shed a single tear. No shaking hands. No guilt in her eyes. Just fake sadness and a few crocodile tears on her Instagram story, writing R.I.P. Bryce. You were one of the good ones. With a goddamn heart emoji. One of the good ones? He was screwing her in our bed while I was working overtime to pay for her yoga classes and facials. And she's acting like a grieving widow on social media. I nearly threw my phone against the wall. I didn't go back to the house right away. I wanted her to stew. To wonder. I made her live in silence for 3 days. Then, on Sunday morning, I walked in like a ghost. Front door key still worked. She hadn't changed the locks yet. Maybe she still thought she could fix this. Or maybe she just didn't think I had the balls to come back. She was sitting on the couch, wearing my hoodie, legs curled under her like everything was normal. Her laptop was open. She was shopping. When she saw me, she blinked once. That's it. No gasp. No apologies. Just a long stare and a single word. You're back. I looked around the room. Bryce's water bottle was still there. His cologne still hung in the air. My robe was on the armrest. I live here, I said quietly. Unlike some people. She sighed. Actually sighed. Like I was the problem. You're being dramatic. I laughed. Laughed so loud it startled her. Dramatic? You were tongue-wrestling Bryce in my robe, Maddie. She had the audacity to roll her eyes. You weren't supposed to be home. And it wasn't serious. He was just fun. Fun. That word hit me like a punch. I could feel the blood rush to my face. Is that what I was? A burden? A background character while you got your little thrill? She stood up, arms crossed. Don't twist this. You've been distant for months. You bury yourself in work. You stopped caring. No, Maddie. I started surviving. Because loving you felt like drowning. She scoffed. You're just mad I didn't wait until you were ready to be a husband again. You're mad I caught you. Silence. Tense. Heavy. Then she said the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Bryce made me feel alive. I stepped forward. He made you feel alive? He made you feel alive while destroying everything we built. She shrugged, and I swear to God, there was a smirk behind her pity. He made me feel wanted. Wanted. I wanted to scream. To shatter every plate in that kitchen. But instead, I nodded. Then I walked over to the drawer where we kept the important papers. Pulled out a file. Slapped it on the coffee table. What's this? She asked. Divorce papers, I said. I had them ready months ago. Something in me knew. I just didn't want to believe it. She went pale. Finally, a crack in that cold marble facade. You're serious? Dead serious, I said. Just like your little boyfriend. Her eyes widened. She sat down slowly. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said, calmly. Just poetic timing. I walked upstairs and started packing. Each shirt into the suitcase felt like closure. Each pair of socks, a nail in the coffin of our joke of a marriage. She followed me up. Wait, so you're just leaving? No, I said without looking at her. I'm escaping. And that's when she snapped. Voice rising, hands gesturing, insults flying. She called me cold. Coward. Emotionally abusive. Gaslighting me for her own sins. I didn't yell back. Didn't even flinch. Just zipped the suitcase shut, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, You broke something in me, Madison. Something that trusted. Something that loved. And I hope that echo follows you into every fun, little fling you have for the rest of your shallow life. She didn't speak after that. She just stood there, lips parted, like she wanted to say something that might fix it all. But there was nothing left to fix. Just ruins. And silence. And the ghost of Bryce's stupid smirk burning in my memory like gasoline on fire. I moved out that day. Didn't tell anyone why. Not my parents, not my coworkers, not even my best friend Tyler. I let them believe it was mutual. Clean. Peaceful. Because explaining it meant reliving it. And I was already doing that enough in my own damn head every night. The silence after betrayal isn't quiet, it's deafening. Everything reminded me of her. Every shampoo bottle in my gym bag. Every damn song on the radio. Even the way a woman laughed at a coffee shop too much like hers. Too loud. Too free. But even then, I couldn't stop thinking about Bryce. Not just what he did, but how he did it. Wearing my robe. Standing in my house. Kissing my wife. That wasn't just betrayal. That was mockery. That was war. And here's the part no one tells you. After betrayal, your mind splits in two. One part wants peace. Healing. Recovery. The other part wants justice. So I gave them both what they wanted. Bryce's death was ruled an accident. But I made sure the accident looked natural. I'd done my research. Slippery dock, nightfall, whiskey. No struggle. No bruises. Just a misstep. A misjudged leap from the edge. And I made sure he was smiling when he went under. I made damn sure of that. No one ever questioned me. Why would they? I was the boring husband. The safe guy. The one who stayed late at the office and paid the taxes on time. The one who smiled through every dinner party while she flirted with friends from work. Let them think I was grieving. Let them think I was heartbroken. Because behind the eyes of a broken man is the most dangerous calm you'll ever meet. Madison didn't even attend Bryce's funeral. Didn't want to make a scene, she said when a mutual friend asked. But I knew the truth. She didn't want to be seen crying over a guy she never really loved. She used him. Same way she used me. Same way she used everyone. I watched her spiral from afar. That was the gift I gave myself. I didn't need to confront her again. Her own choices were already dismantling her life piece by piece. She lost her job 3 weeks after I left. Some HR scandal tied to her friendly behavior with male clients. She moved back in with her sister. Started posting motivational quotes on Facebook like she hadn't just nuked her entire life with a smile and a lie. One night, she texted me. Just one line. Do you ever miss me? I stared at it for a full minute before typing back. Every time I see a snake. Then I blocked her. No goodbye. No second chances. Just closure, cold, surgical, and permanent. Funny thing about pain. It either turns you into someone softer or someone smarter. In my case, it did both. I started rebuilding. Slowly. Quietly. New apartment. New routine. New number. I left the ghost of my marriage behind like a skin I'd outgrown. But sometimes, when the room is too quiet, Where the whiskey burns too smooth, I still see him. Bryce. Standing in my doorway. In my robe. Kissing her like I was the intruder. And I remember the smile he wore. And I smile back. Because now that smile is 6 feet under. A few months passed. The world pretended to move on. But betrayal, real betrayal, it doesn't just leave. It burrows into your spine, reshapes how you breathe. I didn't trust faces anymore. Didn't trust words. Smiles looked like traps. How are you? Sounded like bait. I stayed sharp, cold, and alone. Then, out of nowhere, she reached out again. Blocked number. New profile. But her tone? Still the same smug Madison who thought she could spin anything. This time, it wasn't a question. It was a statement. We need to talk. There are things you don't know. I should have ignored it. Should have deleted the message and gone back to my life. But something about it itched. So I said nothing. Just watched. 3 days later, I got a call from Tyler. Bro. You sitting down? What's going on? He exhaled. Cops came to my place. Asking about you. About Bryce. Everything slowed. What did you say? Told them the truth. You were at my cabin the whole weekend. I backed up your story. But they had questions, man. Said they got an anonymous tip. I didn't need to ask who sent it. I knew Madison's handwriting before she even picked up a pen. That was her final move, classic cornered animal. Couldn't win, so she tried to burn the whole house down. I called her. No greeting. Just, what the hell do you think you're doing? She answered so sweetly, like we were catching up over coffee. I just thought maybe someone should know the truth. About what you did. About what you're capable of. You mean surviving your lies? Or watching the man you brought into our house drown with that smug grin? Silence. Then she laughed. You're more dangerous than I gave you credit for. And you're more pathetic than I thought. You couldn't kill me, so you tried to destroy what's left of me. Oh, honey, she said, voice sugar and cyanide. I'm not trying. I'm just giving fate a little push. That was the moment I realized Madison wasn't just a liar. She was a sociopath in lipstick. I hung up, then lawyered up. There's a reason I always kept receipts. Emails, texts, calendar pings, GPS data from my car. Tyler's cabin had a security cam at the entrance. The one I installed last year, just in case. Let her play games. I had proof. When the police came, I was ready. Calm. Collected. Laid it all out with timestamps and documents and witnesses. Madison had sent the tip anonymously, but not cleverly. The email traced back to her sister's old work laptop. Rookie mistake. Within a week, the case against me folded. And she? She got a warning from the cops. Tampering. False accusations. Nothing that would stick long-term, but enough to light her reputation on fire in every direction. I didn't have to lift a finger. She did it all herself. And when the dust settled, I did something I hadn't done in months. I slept. Not restlessly. Not half awake with thoughts crawling behind my eyes. I slept. Because for the first time, the nightmare wasn't mine anymore. It was hers. I started to rebuild, quietly, while she unraveled in public. Madison tried to hold on to the scraps of her fake image, started dating some junior manager at her new job, probably another pawn. But I saw through the filtered smiles, the desperate quotes she posted online about growth and healing. You don't heal when you're the one who brought the knife. One night, I was out at a bar downtown with Tyler. Low-key place. Wood panels, soft light. The kind of place where no one knows your story, and that's the whole point. We were laughing over a beer when Tyler's expression changed. I turned. There she was. Madison. Alone. Dressed too nice for a Thursday night. She saw me and froze, just for a second, then smiled like she hadn't tried to bury me under lies and half-truths. She walked over. Hey, she said. I nodded. Tyler looked ready to throw a chair. She glanced around. Can we talk for a minute? Tyler stood. You're out of your mind. It's fine, I said, locking eyes with her. Let's hear what she wants. We stepped outside. Cold wind. City noise in the background. She looked tired. Not physically, no. She still had that polished look. But inside. Her confidence had fractures now. Her armor didn't fit like it used to. I just wanted to say. I didn't mean for it to end like this, she started. Like what? I asked. You didn't mean for me to catch you? Or for Bryce to die? Or for the cops to show up at my door because you couldn't stand that I walked away? She swallowed hard. I was angry. Hurt. You didn't. No. Stop. You don't get to rewrite the script. My voice cut through her excuses. You torched our life for a few cheap thrills and then tried to act like I lit the match. Her eyes shimmered, but no tears fell. Not this time. You're right, she whispered. But you didn't have to let him drown. I leaned in, voice low. And you didn't have to let him live in my home. In my robe. In my space. She shook her head. I was stupid. No. You were selfish. And you still are. A long silence stretched between us. Then she asked the one thing I didn't expect. Did you ever love me? I didn't answer right away. I looked at her, really looked. Past the face I once kissed every morning. Past the lies and the betrayal. I loved the version of you that never existed. She flinched. I walked back inside. Left her standing in the dark. And that's the last time I ever saw her in person. Since then, I've kept moving forward. New place. New friends. I keep my circle small now. I watch people closer. I listen to silences more than I do words. Sometimes I think about that night, Bryce in the robe, Madison smiling like a winner, and I realize it wasn't the betrayal that changed me. It was the clarity. I saw them for what they really were. And more importantly, I saw myself. What I could survive. What I could become. And that was the real beginning. Weeks turned into months, and her name stopped echoing in my head like a curse. But one thing about pain, it doesn't just leave. It mutates. You don't forget betrayal. You just get better at hiding where it hit you. I started journaling. Not for healing, but to keep the facts straight. Names. Dates. Feelings. I wanted it all on paper, unfiltered, because I knew there would come a day when someone would try to twist it. Maybe her. Maybe someone like her. I wasn't going to let that happen again. One night, I got a knock at the door. Not a text. Not a call. An actual knock. I opened it, and there stood her sister, Rachel. She looked nervous, clutching her purse like it was a shield. Her eyes darted over my shoulder, like she was afraid someone was watching. Can we talk? She asked. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She sat stiff on the edge of the couch, like she didn't want to touch anything. I shouldn't be here, she said. But I thought you should know, Madison spiraling. I leaned against the counter. And why is that my problem? Rachel looked up. She's saying things. To people. About what happened to Bryce. About you. I raised an eyebrow. Still trying to rewrite history? She told someone at work you were obsessed. That you were violent. That she stayed with Bryce because she was afraid of what you'd do. I actually laughed. A hollow, cold sound. Right. That's why she was smiling when I walked in on them. That's why she wore lingerie I bought her to impress him. Rachel didn't defend her. That surprised me. She's not well, she said quietly. And deep down, I think she knows she crossed a line she can't uncross. But that's not stopping her. I studied Rachel's face. She looked more ashamed than I expected. You came here to warn me? Why? She looked away. Because I believed her once. When she said you were boring, controlling, cold. I didn't know the truth until I saw her collapse after Bryce died. It wasn't grief, it was fear. Fear that you knew something. Fear that her game was over. I didn't respond. Just be careful, Rachel said. She's unraveling. And desperate people do dangerous things. After she left, I poured a drink and sat in silence. Madison couldn't let go. Not because she loved me, but because she lost control. And women like her, they don't mourn the person. They mourn the power. I prepared myself. I gathered every document, every timestamp, every message. I even printed the damn texts. Labeled every folder. I wasn't going to just survive her. I was going to erase her. Not with rage. Not with revenge. With proof. Because when she came for me again, and she would, I wanted her to realize something as the truth wrapped around her throat. I had already buried one snake, and I wasn't afraid to bury another. It didn't take long. 2 weeks after Rachel's visit, I got a letter. Not a text, not an email, a handwritten letter. She always did love drama. The envelope was pink. Of course it was. Inside, 5 pages of unfiltered delusion. She called it a statement of truth, but it read like a love letter written by a narcissist drunk on her own fantasy. She painted herself as a victim. A fragile woman trapped in a cold marriage, emotionally starved, and pushed into someone else's arms. Said I was manipulative. That I weaponized silence and refused intimacy. Claimed she didn't mean for anything to happen with Bryce, but that one night turned into something more. No apology. No remorse. Just a twisted justification of her affair, packaged like a confession. But here's the kicker. At the bottom of page 5, she threatened me. If you ever tell anyone about what you saw that night, I'll make sure the truth gets out. And the version I tell? They'll believe it. Because I cry better than you lie. I sat there, holding the pages like they were poison. She wasn't just desperate. She was arrogant. And I knew exactly what to do with that. I scanned the letter, filed it with the rest. Then I made a call. Lena Pierce, investigative journalist, old friend of a friend. She didn't write fluff pieces. She exposed fraud, abuse, power games. She thrived on stories that ended careers. I told her everything. No drama. Just facts. Dates. Names. Records. The text messages. The emails. Even the footage of Madison coming out of a hotel at 3 a.m. with Bryce, wrapped in my coat. Lena didn't flinch. This is a career killer, she said. And you're okay with that? I'm not looking for revenge, I said. I'm looking for air. I want her lies to rot in the sunlight. 2 weeks later, the article went live. False Love, the private games of Madison Taylor. It spread fast. Viral fast. Screenshots. Reddit threads. HR departments whispering. Her new job dropped her the same day. Her name trended for all the wrong reasons. And I didn't say a word. I didn't text her. Didn't reply when she called from a blocked number 16 times in 2 hours. Didn't respond when she left a voicemail sobbing, then screaming, then sobbing again. She finally got what she wanted, attention. But not the kind you can control. Rachel texted me later that night. Just 3 words. She's finished talking. I stared at the message, then deleted it. Because I was done listening. There was nothing left to say. No more apologies. No more threats. No more gaslighting. No more desperate attempts to claw her way back into my life with fake vulnerability. She broke everything. And now she was left standing in the ruins, covered in ashes, clutching the match. Just like she deserved. It's strange how quiet life becomes when the chaos is gone. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, more like standing in a house after a storm tore through it. The noise is gone, but everything looks different. Walls are cracked. Furniture's shifted. But you're still standing. Breathing. Alive. That's how I felt. I moved again. New city. Different coast. Somewhere with cold wind and honest skies. I didn't bring much. Just a few bags, a decent suit, and the knowledge that I'd already walked through fire and didn't burn. I kept my circle small intentionally. No more people who smiled with one side of their face while sharpening knives with the other. No more oversharers, no more charmers, no more Madison Taylors. The last I heard, she tried to sue the magazine for defamation. It was dismissed. No legs to stand on when the truth comes with receipts. She disappeared after that. Deleted all her socials. Quit her job. Again. Moved out of state. Probably changed her name. She faded the way people do when their lies catch up and no one's left to believe them. And me? I healed in pieces. There wasn't one single moment when I woke up feeling free. It came in fragments. The first time I slept through the night. The first time I laughed and didn't feel guilty. The first time I walked past a woman in the street and didn't compare her to Madison's silhouette. Eventually, I stopped waiting for the next betrayal. I stopped expecting every smile to hide a knife. I just lived. But if you ask me what I learned, what I'd say to someone standing where I once stood, staring at the cracks in their marriage, wondering if they're going crazy or if the person they love is truly capable of something vile, I'd say this. Trust your gut. It whispers before it screams. The truth won't always arrive politely. Sometimes it slams the door open wearing your robe and kissing your wife. And when it does, don't beg. Don't reason. Don't try to fix what someone else took pleasure in breaking. Just walk. Walk with your head high and your silence louder than any lie they'll ever tell about you. Because in the end, Madison didn't ruin me. She revealed me. And I like the man I met on the other side.